And we're going to go ahead and do some work on shoulders and the sides, specifically the sidelines of the body. So go ahead and bring yourself to any old seat that works for you. Just come to a comfortable seat. I'm going to go cross-legged. Make it comfortable wherever you're at. If that means one leg needs to go out so that you can really feel your pelvis heavy down, then do that. And I would love for you to close your eyes once you find a comfortable seat. And do something purposeful with your hands. So take these palms and push them face down onto your legs if you are feeling kind of low energy and like you need to mellow out. And put them palms facing up toward the ceiling if you are feeling more receptive and in need of drawing energy in toward you. And take a couple of nice big deep breaths and just use this next couple of minutes to energetically shift gears and bring yourself here to this space and this time that we share every Tuesday. Bring your attention into that breath that's flowing in and through you, and just watch it move in through your nostrils. Imagine it filling your nasal cavities and into your throat and chest, and filling your lungs with air, breath. And as the exhale comes, it just falls out of you, and there's a reverse motion to that exhale. It falls back out of you, and maybe you can notice that the air feels a little bit warmer on its way out than it does on the way in. And just keep going with your own breath, just following it in to your body, and allowing it to flow back out. Keeping with this observation of your breath, the next time you inhale and your lungs fill with breath, imagine that diaphragm directly beneath your lungs. Like a hammock, it fills up with breath and it moves down toward your belly button in order to accommodate more breath in the lungs. And as the exhale comes, that diaphragm just snaps back to its starting position. And as the inhale comes and the diaphragm moves down, the organs actually have to move down too. The belly expands to allow for that breath to come in. Organs are massaged, and as the exhale comes and the diaphragm snaps back, so do the organs as the exhale falls out of you. And then in whatever way seems logical to you, just begin to move your shoulders and move them in tandem with your breath. So you've been kind of watching your breath move in and out. Maybe you inhale and draw the shoulders up toward your ears and back and down your back. Just starting to put some gentle motion into your shoulders. Maybe they go individual, so it's more like a swimming motion with the shoulders. That might feel good. Maybe a front stroke and a back stroke. And what I would love for you to do is keep with this nice big breath and also get super curious about just how your spine moves and how your shoulders move and how your left side feels different than your right side. And that's because it's just kind of different, and that's okay. And honoring both sides. Cool. All right. Now, from wherever you are, just go ahead and take these legs and draw them out in front of you so you're like in an L shape with your body. And then just taking a moment here to be on center. Again, bringing your attention now into your hips and into the pelvis. And can you feel the sitting bones on the ground? And you might even want to reach down and kind of move your bum out of the way so that your sitting bones can get nice contact on the ground. So this is a pose, this is Dandasana. So take some time here and go mentally from these sitting bones out into your legs. Allow your legs to be a little bit active. Your toes point up toward the ceiling. You push out of the balls of the feet, but not a ton because you're also pushing out of the heels too. There's activity on both ends of the feet. And the activity on those ends of the feet also kind of fire up your legs a little bit too. And then from your from your hips up, bring your attention into your spine and stack that spine perfectly on top of your pelvis. Let your head rest on top of your shoulders. Give your shoulders some more of those swimming motions, those circles, and then find where the center is in those circles and settle those shoulders down. My arms, the heels of my hands aren't really long enough to reach down to the ground, but if yours are, the full pose has the heels of the hands grounding down. So you're just this perfect L shape. Belly button is moving in toward the spine. Now, from here, go ahead and just give yourself a cervical nod. I like to imagine like those ferns that kind of unfurl in the forest. Give yourself a chin down toward the chest. And then just round this all the way forward. Bring yourself forward into a forward fold. And what I would love for you to do is not worry about form here. I would love for your spine to just be really round so it's like a cat. Cat pose. So you're stretching through your hamstrings and it's a nice easy stretch. You've got a nice round spine here. Your tailbone is grounding down toward the ground. And from that, your spine is rising up and then just like a nice gentle curve. All right, and then let's do a couple of these. So go ahead and start with your tailbone, ground that tailbone down, allow that to bring your belly pulling back, and then reverse the motion. Just bring your fern back up to vertical and see if you can just stack this exactly back the way that you started. And then do a few more without me telling you what to do so much. We're just articulating the spine. Down you go. Roll your sweet self forward. Come out to the place that it feels good and you've got a little bit of stretch going in your hamstrings. We'll work on them more in a little bit, so no worries. And then roll your sweet self back up and see if you can just reverse the motion, perfectly reverse it. Stack each vertebrae, that you can actually speak to each one and stack it perfectly. Let's do one more. Go ahead and come on up. And then go ahead and roll this back down. Down you go into your rounded spine. So bring your mind back into this cat-cow idea. And I would love to continue putting more mobility into your upper back and in your shoulders. So from here, it's very rounded, right? Your chin is moving in toward your chest. There's lots of separation in your shoulder blades. Now bring your face up first, and we're going to turn this into like a cow kind of spine. So go ahead and look up toward your toes. Look out past your toes. Start sending your heart forward. This is going to dump right into your hamstrings, right? So go only as far as it makes sense. As your heart moves more forward, the hamstrings stretch more. So this is a little cow kind of spine, and then a cat kind of spine, and a cow kind of spine, and a cat kind of spine. Let me get a look at you really quick. Keep going on your own. So what you're really doing is kind of putting a bigger load on the hamstrings and then less, but you're also articulating this upper spine and separating the shoulder blades and drawing them together and separating and together. This looks great. Good jobs. All right. Go ahead and bring your sweet self back up to vertical here. Let's go ahead and put a little boat pose in here while we're here. So go ahead and squeeze your legs together, bend your knees, and see if you can float these shins off the ground. You can always grab the backs of your legs. What I would love for you to do here is mimic that heart forward that you were just doing, but it's heart up. The shoulder blades are drawing together behind you, and there's a down action that lifts your heart up. Good jobs. Well done. So you can hold it here if you want and just hang out here, or you could turn this into a low boat and put a little bit more work into it and come back up. And it doesn't need to be as low as my boat. You could just do like an inch. Sometimes it's nice to just do little baby pulses. Belly button is moving down toward the spine and also down toward the floor. And as that down action happens, you should be able to find a little boop to your chest and you can lift it up better. Good job. That was a really good adjustment, Amy. I saw it. Well played. Up you go. All right, go ahead and cross your ankles. Come to all fours. And just give yourself a little bit of free form movement here. Do whatever feels good to you. Move your spine in whatever way works. Look out, Ruby. You could move like a snake. You could move more cat-cow and do it in the more traditional way that we practice. Okay, so let's put some folding chairs in here and just put a little bit of strength and also movement for our shoulders and just kind of practicing stability in the shoulder girdle. So it's a little bit of choose your own adventure because we're all built a little bit differently, but come back into a child's pose and then give yourself long arms like downward dog arms. So then from here, you're gonna rock up to all fours with straight arms. And this is where you might need to make an adjustment. I want to take my knees back just a little bit so that I can bend my elbows and take my heart forward so it's like a little baby chaturanga. And then fold this back. Come forward. So door number one is you can actually just take the shoulders over the wrists, send the heart forward so it's that same motion that we were just practicing. And it's still core work, but it's not a ton. Door number two is to make this a little baby chaturanga. And again, just like we were doing with the boats, you can just do like an inch. You don't have to go too far. So apply the strength that makes sense for you. And what I'm really trying to give you is just movement, healthy movement for the shoulder girdle of yours. So just taking a couple more of these. I also like to, as I'm doing this motion, think about a head-tail kind of connection here. So as I'm coming up and forward, my heart is leading, my head is leading, I come forward, I come up, and now my back leads, my tailbone leads as I go back. So kind of giving the responsibility to both sides to help with the movement. So go ahead and park it in child's pose whenever you're ready. And just take a couple of breaths here, breathing into the length of your spine. Send some breath into the low back. Just bring your attention there to that tailbone. And imagine like we were following the breath moving into the body. Just imagine that tailbone filling up with breath. And instead of the diaphragm moving down, it's like energy that moves in a big ring outside of that central space. Okay, go ahead and bring yourself up to your shins. This is a move we started doing a couple of weeks ago, but I confused it with another flow. And so we didn't really get to do it very well. But I love this motion because it gives us a twist and more of the swimming kind of motion and more cat-cow. So go ahead and from here, take an inhale and draw these arms out and up and let your palms touch. And then as you exhale, just bring your right fingertips down and side bend over to the right. So we'll take this first flow kind of slow so you can get the moves down. You're going to drop down through your left hip and lift up through your bottom left ribs so that your waist feels like it's stretching. And then the next time you're inhaling, go ahead and come up through center. Take both of your hands with you and side bend over to the left. And it's the same thing. You're dropping down through the right hip. And then from the right hip, you're peeling away your bottom right ribs. And then with your next inhale, come back up through center. Take your hands with you again. This time twist over to the right, taking your left hand to the outside of your right leg. And your fingertips might come to the floor, mine don't. I usually just send my arms straight out. And then from here, go ahead and take this back arm and cross it over top of the front. So here's a cattish kind of spine, right? Inhale and peel yourself open to the other side. And then from here, come forward and go to all fours and turn this into a cat and a cow. So we'll do this a few more times. It gets more simple the more times you do it. So a couple of cat-cows. And then go ahead and bring this into a child's pose. And then go ahead and bring your torso up to vertical and take the arms with you. And now side bend over to the left first. Exhale. Inhaling, take your hands with you, come up through center. And exhale and side bend over to the right. With an inhale, come up through center, take your hands with you. Exhale, twist to the left, right hand goes outside of left leg. With your next breath, cross this left arm over top of the right. With your next inhale, peel open to the right. And then come forward to all fours. Go with a couple of cat-cows and move your spine however feels good to you, and we'll do a couple more of them. And if it's not making sense yet, my guess is that it will, but either way, all we're really doing is mobilizing the spine in these certain ways. So you're getting it done anyway. Bring your hips back to your heels, child's pose. Inhale, come up to vertical with your spine and take the arms with you, palms touch. Exhaling, side bend over to the right. Right fingertips come down. Inhaling, come up through center, and exhaling, side bend over to the left. Inhaling, come up through center, take your hands with you and twist over to the right. Left hand comes to the outside of the right leg. Exhaling, cross right arm over top of left and round your spine. Inhaling, twist open to the left. Left arm goes back behind you. And exhaling, bring this into a cat pose and a cow. And again, move however you want to. If it's more corkscrewy in here for you, that's fine. And then we've got one more to do on the left side. So let's go ahead and give you more personal time here in cat-cow or in whatever movements you want to do. One more breath doing whatever you're doing. And then go ahead and come back to child's pose on an exhale. On an inhale, you come up to vertical and the arms come with you. On an exhale, you side bend over to the left. On an inhale, you come through center. And on an exhale, you side bend over to the right. And on an inhale, you come through center, and on an exhale, you twist over to the left. Right hand comes to outside of left knee. On your next exhale, cross this left arm over top of the right. And with the inhale, peel open to the right, sending your right arm back. With the next exhale, come forward to cat pose. And cow. And whatever way you want to go. And then go ahead and bring yourself to a nice neutral spine here. So now what I would love to do is isolate these sides a little bit and pay some special attention to your left side and also to your right side, and just ask them to join the party in their own ways. So let's start from hands and knees, and let's just do some bird dog hands and knees here. So when you're ready to, you're just going to take the right hand forward and the left leg back. And hold here. So a couple of options. You can hold this if you want to. You can give this more abdominal work by exhaling and drawing the elbow and the knee together beneath you, and inhaling and sending this back out. You can also just exhale and come back to all fours and inhale and exhale. So do what suits you. This looks great. And then why don't we build on this? So let's just go ahead and be done with this side and just do the other side. Just do bird dogs on the other side. So again, we went different directions. So I'm going to lift my left hand and right leg. So door number one is just to hold this. And what I'm doing when I hold this is paying attention to the wobbliness in my center. And I'm drawing my belly button in toward my spine, and I'm sending direction out through my chest and head, as well as out through my tailbone. I'm grounding down with this hand and with this shin, and that's helping keep buoyancy. You can also draw everything together and just make this more about core work and movement intelligence. And then if you need to take a break and you're just kind of building strength, and be mindful of both sides. You know, we're really trying to look at the two sides, and they're not the same. And so part of this practice is to bring them up to the right levels, but also to honor where they're at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back on the same page. Come back to all fours. Let's put a side stretch in here. Go ahead and come back to all fours and bring yourself back to child's pose. And then let's do just yield classic that we love to do. Take your body over to the left. Take your right hand and stack it on top of the left. If that puts too much mustard on everything, then just let the right hand not stack on top of the left. But you do give yourself a stretch through the whole right side body. Feel your right hip releasing. Breathe into your right side. Again, go into your own personal right side and just acknowledge that this is different than the left. Say hi to this right side. Invite a stretch into this side. And then go ahead and come through the other. Do the other side, stacking left hand on top of right. But again, if that is too much, then don't worry about it. What I would love for you to do is just speak to your own personal left side. Feel yourself consciously drop your left hip down. And with that drop, you're accomplishing a deeper stretch through the whole left side of the body. Feel this stretch all the way up into your underarms. Send some breath into whatever spaces on this left side need extra special love. And then go ahead and come back to center. Okie doke, come back to all fours. So I wanted to give us a stretch first because now I want to apply some strength to each of these sides. So from here, go ahead and come back to all fours. Send this right hand forward and send this left leg back.
Take a couple moments here to balance. Bring elbow and knee together. See if you can get these sides to stay together. Bring contact, right elbow, left knee. And just hold this beneath your body for a moment. Press down with this left hand. You're putting a lot of strength on this, right? Okay. And then from here, go ahead and bring your right hand back down. Send this left leg straight out back behind you. Put this left foot behind the right so that the pinky toe edge of this left foot is parallel with the bottom edge of your mat. And then take this left arm up. Cool, so this is gonna be door number one. From here, there's a lot of strength for your right side. You're grounding down to lift up. This right hand is pressing down. There's lots of energy coming up through the right arm. Left arm reaches up. You can lift this right knee off the ground, and that's going to put a lot more load on everything. So decide what you want. You could also send that right leg straight out to the right if you have room and you won't hit something in your kitchen. All right, go ahead and take this all apart and just come back down to all fours. Take a rest if you need it. If you need child's pose, go ahead and take it. Let me know by just going into child's pose. These can sometimes get intense, so the intention is not to burn you out. All right, let's do the other side just that much. Go ahead and come back to all fours. Send the left arm out forward and the right leg out back. Take a moment here and practice that stability through the core. So the idea isn't that you're completely still, but actually that you're moving and that your core is stable enough to support you in this just baby movements as you balance here. And then go ahead and draw elbow and knee together and just light a little fire here. So as soon as you make contact, my hope is that you can really feel everything gets more intense. And the more you press these things together, the more this dumps into your core, and the more fire you build, the faster you can do it. So now let's go ahead and come back out to our starting position, and then send this left hand down. So you have both hands on the ground now. Set this right foot so pinky toe edge is parallel with the bottom of the mat. Take this right arm up, and here's our modified Bashistasana. So this is just door number one for side plank. So now we're doing work for the left side. We're asking this left side to be strong. So maybe this is just where you're good on this side, and this is where it's challenging for you. If you want to take it up a notch, you can lift this left knee a little bit. And if you wanted to be more fancy with it, you could send this left foot out forward. But again, all of these are just extra load on your core, and I'm really just trying to give you movements that you can do on each side so that each side can be appropriately challenged. Yeah. Cool, cool. All right, go ahead and come on down. Give yourself some cat-cow movements. And then let's undo your wrists while you're here. So go ahead and just take the weight back onto your heels for a moment. And then just bring the backs of the hands to the mat. This is how I prefer to undo it. My elbows are bent quite a lot. And then from here, I can kind of rock a little bit forward and back. You can also kind of go a little bit side to side. Just be gentle with you. If this doesn't work for you, you can also just give yourself a little massage with your thumbs. It also feels kind of nice to just, it works best with my thumb and middle finger, but you just kind of make a ring around your wrist and then just gently pull. So you're kind of pulling your wrist joint apart a little bit. We'll do the same on the other one. Okay. Okay, so let's localize this more into the shoulders and the upper back. and see if we can mobilize a little bit more there. So go ahead and come onto your tummy. Let me do a time check really quick. I lost track of time. Okay. Come onto your tummy. And then from here, why don't we go ahead and just isolate the movements of the shoulders really quick. So give yourself capital T arms. And then just make sure your shoulders are on right by just kind of looking down the length of your arm and just making sure that what you're looking directly at is the heel of each hand. Cool. And then bring your forehead down. And then all I want you to do is just inhale and lift up, lift the arms up, turn your palms forward, and make the whole motion in your whole arm. So it's actually like this upper arm bone is turning like a key in a keyhole. I tend to like to bring my face down and lift it up. It's really just a movement for your back, so you could leave your face down and just have this be the motion. Okay. Now from here, go ahead and come onto forearms and give yourself a nice little Sphinx pose. Your arms are parallel. Your elbows are directly beneath your shoulders. My feet are not really together. They're about hips width apart. And I'm pressing all of my toes down. And I'm trying to press my pinky toe down and my big toe. But it doesn't really work in my body. But what I'm really doing is just putting a little bit of inner thigh action and allowing the inner thighs to roll up toward the ceiling a little bit. So if you can feel that in your body, you're great. Okie dokie. Come into your shoulders. Draw these shoulder blades together behind you. Send your heart forward. So it's more of that work that we were doing with the forward fold, right? And then from here, go ahead and tuck your chin. Move this down. Press your forearms into the mat. Allow that to lift your hips. And then you're just going to take these hips just a little bit back. And then come back forward and replace the whole thing. It's a lot of strengthening and dynamic motion for your shoulders. You're separating the shoulders, pushing up and out of the forearms, using that power to propel your booty back, not too far. It might not be as far as me. You'll feel it. It'll move into your core, and you'll have to really press your forearms down, and that's as far as you want to go. And then you just come back. Set your sweet self down, roll the shoulder blades together, draw this heart forward, and maybe you even look up. And then reverse the motion. So you can go nice and slow, go with your own breath. Feel the articulation of your whole spine, but particularly these shoulders, and really invite them to help propel this motion. Ask them to get involved and guide your whole body forward and back. Okie doke. So now let's do more of the isolation of each side. Okay, so just bring yourself onto your left forearm and your left side. And bend your left knee. You can let your right leg be straight. And then similar to what we were just doing, again, this is a little bit of just kind of exploring what's going on with each of your own sides and just coaxing a little bit more out of that. So from this, what I would love for you to do is have just really awful form. Just collapse right into this left shoulder. And then start with grounding. Ground the left hand down, ground the left forearm down, push, 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 up, up, up. Lots of power in this left shoulder. Looks great. So again, you're going to kind of put this on for yourself. Go ahead and collapse back down. And then push this motion in. So we're really recruiting all the muscles that we need for a side plank. And then we're gonna add on to this. So door number one is just to leave this top leg down and just lift up onto your knee like this. And then back down, collapse down, and push all of this back up. Here's your nice side line, and then a little bit more core, lifting the hips up. Door number three, I need this knee to come a little bit closer, so I'm adjusting that by pulling this up. Door number three is actually to collapse all of this down, push up and out of it, lift up, up, whoosh, and then take all of this back down. So you could also just take arms up and leave that top leg down if that was too much sauce for you. There's actually a diagonal motion to be found. So as you come up and you lift this leg, you actually reach the arm back and the right leg forward. And there's this dynamic kind of diagonal motion to be had. All right, you're probably getting tired. Let's do it on the other side. So go ahead and come over to the other side. My bottom leg is bent and my top leg is long. You decide how that will work for you. Come down onto your forearm. The forearm is parallel to the top of your mat. And then just collapse. And then start with grounding this forearm and the hands down. Press those down and just feel all the power move up your arm and up into this whole side. Feel those muscles get recruited to support you as you make this kind of plank shape. And then when you're ready to, like I said, I need to adjust this knee a little bit, but when you're ready to, go ahead and come on up. And maybe this is just door number one. So you're really asking these muscles to hold you up now in this nice baby side plank. And then coming down. And then again, if you're really feeling strong, you can take all this up, take this top leg up, take this top arm over and just reach long, big, long lines through the whole left side. And then take this back down. Whoosh. And then the last variation of this that I found that just makes everything a lot more difficult and moves it into the core is taking all of this up and then giving it a diagonal kind of motion. So the left arm is going to go back and the left leg is going to go forward. And then collapse this down. So just a couple more, working how you want to work. And when you're tired, let me know by just coming back to child's pose. These are a lot of different moves that we're kind of building on from other moves that we do. So I need you to kind of tell me where you're at. So you don't die. All right, child's pose. Let your knees be wide this time for child's pose. Big toes touch, and just let your big old belly hang down right in between your legs. Bring your forehead down. So for our last two poses, let's do one for shoulders and then one for hips. And I'm feeling a heart pose for this to end this. So what you'll do here is come up to all fours, put your knees back to about hip width. And then you're going to set yourself up so you're in a nice all fours. Your knees are right beneath your hips and your hands are right beneath your shoulders. And then you walk your hands out, but you leave your booty right where it is. So what you end up with is kind of like downward dog arms. I'm coming down onto my forearms, and then I can actually bring my chin and chest down. But a lot of people just come to forehead, and that's fine too. So as we make our way out of this practice and the work that we were just doing in the underarms and the sides, just taking a moment to say hi to those sides. This pose is actually called melting heart pose, so allow your heart to melt down toward the floor, and that's also going to open up your underarms a little bit more. And because you do end up kind of deep in this pose, my hack for getting out of it is I just kind of swoop myself forward and come onto my belly. And then let's go ahead and I'll turn to face you so you can see easier. You just stay where you're at. Let's do this passive stretch too so we can get into the underarms a little bit more. So from here, go ahead and send your right arm out to the right. Take a second to check once again. You're looking down the length of your arm and just make sure that you're looking at the heel of your right hand. That's just going to protect your shoulder a little bit more. Left hand goes underneath the left shoulder. Bend left knee. Press left hand into the mat and roll yourself over onto your right side and step your left foot behind your right leg. The right ear goes to the floor. The palm of the right hand stays on the floor so that your arm stays in the right rotation. If you still have lots more room here and you want somewhere to go, you can send this left arm up toward the ceiling. Some people can clasp their hands behind them. You could also take both of your knees and point them up toward the ceiling. That gives this a little bit more of a twisting quality. And then let's go ahead and take this apart. If you did anything with your arm, your left arm, bring your left hand down onto the mat so that will help you come back down onto your belly. Just take a moment here and let your arm get back on. Send your left arm out. Bring your right hand under your right shoulder. Bend right knee. Press right hand into the mat and roll over onto the left side. And again, your left palm, it stays on the floor, and that's just going to help you keep the arm in the right rotation to give you the stretch. This is mainly a stretch for your pecs, your chest, the muscles that run through your chest and then attach across your shoulder joints into your arms. Take a couple more breaths here. All right, come back onto your belly. Again, if you did anything with this right hand, bring it back down onto the mat so you can help yourself come back down onto your belly. From here, push your sweet self through all fours. Bring hips back to heels. And then let's, yogi's choice, choose your own adventure. My thought was a pigeon pose, but if you would rather do thread the needle pose, please do. Come up through all fours and send this right leg forward. Right knee comes toward the heel of the right hand. You both do pigeon. Okay, cool. So this will be our last pose before Shavasana. So let's give it like 2 minutes on each side. What do you say? So you can stay up if you want to. If you're working on your core, there's core work to be had even here. You can set up this and then bring your arms up. This will become a back bend and a lot of core work to get everything lifted up. You can also come forward and bring your forehead down and rest. Choose what feels good to you. There's also a twist here to be had. So your right leg is forward. You send your right arm forward, and then you thread this left arm underneath and bring your left temple down. Do what speaks to you, and just breathe here. We're gonna stay here for another 30 seconds or so, but what I would love for you to do, if you're feeling it, is take these back toes, tuck them, lift that back knee, and walk that back knee back a little bit, so you're making a little bit more of a party in your pelvis. Untuck your toes again and just go back to where you were. Take 3 more of the deepest breaths you possibly can take in this position on this side. Then go ahead and slowly draw yourself up to vertical. From here, go ahead and drop the weight over onto your right hip and swing your left leg around. So it's actually just kind of sneaky hip work that we're doing. Bend your left knee and swing this right leg around. Into the other side you go. Set yourself up. Different side, different story. That's kind of our theme. So just checking in with this side. Is it tighter? Is it looser? Are you happier here? And take a couple moments, decide what you want to do. And particularly in today's practice, if it's not feeling the same on this side, then do it differently on this side. And again, we're going to hold this for about 2 minutes. So go ahead and let yourself breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Just take another 3 big deep breaths here, like you are. And then go ahead and adjust your pose, but stay in it. So for me, the most effective adjustment is to tuck the back toes, lift back knee, walk that back knee back a little bit, and then drop back into it. Let's go for 4 more deep breaths on this side. And then after you got those 4 breaths down, go ahead and come back up to vertical with your body. Take this weight once again over onto your left side. Swing this right leg back forward so you end up with both legs forward. And then just taking a moment here. We should have, we have 7 minutes left together. I would love to give you 5 for Shavasana. So if you can take 2 and do whatever you want to, do it. A couple of options that I have for you are a rollover. So kind of borrowing on our practice from earlier, you can go through Dandasana and fold forward and then up and back. There's also just sending the legs up, like legs up the wall. There's a plow pose. There's ab work if you want it. There is extra long Shavasana if you want it. Just doing whatever your own body needs and honoring where it's at right now. And winding down your practice, just taking it back internal and feeling the work that you've done in your own body. Checking in with your sides. How do they feel? How does your back feel? If you were working with an already pretty happy body, hopefully it's happier. Hopefully you can feel that energy moving through it. And then, as it seems right for you, start to make your way to Shavasana. Then taking your time and doing it in the way that your body wants to do it. And as you bring stillness into your body, come back to that study of the breath that we started with. Coupling it with the study of our bodies that we did and the sides and how they're different, and then using the breath to just push into the different sides. Maybe you can even play around with allowing the inhale to come in and sending it more into your left nostril than into your right nostril. You actually do have musculature in your face and in your nose. So as you play around with your breath, following it in and out, maybe you can direct that breath into the left nostril and into the right nostril. Maybe you can ask that breath to move more into your right lung or your left lung, or your right side or your left side. Just following your own breath as it moves into your body to provide nourishment and direct it to where the nourishment is needed the most.
attention back into your body and bring it all the way down to your left big toe. Say hello to your left big toe and see if you can get that left big toe to say hello back to you. Move that attention out to your left baby toe and the pinky toe side of your whole left foot. Take your attention up to your left ankle bone, outside ankle bone. Outside of left knee, outside of left hip. Run your attention all along your left ribs like you were taking a drumstick and running it along a fence. Bring your attention up to your left underarm, left shoulder, left ear. And then can you run your attention all the way back down your left side, left neck, left shoulder, left ribs, left underarm, left hip, left knee, left ankle, left foot, right big toe, right pinky toe, right ankle, outside of right ankle, outside of right knee, outside of right hip, right ribs, all along the right ribs, the right underarm, right shoulder joint, and the right ear. And then run your attention all the way back down. Now imagine just a wave coming up and over you, and it washes over your whole body, up over your head and everything. It takes all the tension that is anywhere on either side of your body. And as the wave washes over you, it takes all the pain and upset and inflammation with it. Send a nice big deep cleansing inhale through your whole body, and then you decide how to move that body of yours to a comfortable seat. And take your time, move however it feels best to you. Maybe you want to park it on the right side for a moment. And just coming up to a comfortable seat. And sealing our practice, bring your hands to your heart. They can go to prayer, you can stack them, whatever feels good to you. Just take a moment here, take a breath. Thank yourself for making this time. Thank your body for having this conversation with you. And as always, I thank you for choosing to be here and spend this time with me. Namaste. Thanks, buddies.